Hey everybody, welcome to the Happy Harvest Homestead. It's pretty windy today, but I really want to get this project done, so I'm going to try to talk loud over the wind, but I apologize. I'm trying the best I can. Also, this project is just in a very awkward position. Today is Monday, and Mondays mean our weekly doctor's visit that takes all afternoon, and it's timed just perfectly to mess up everything. In the mornings I do animal chores, and then I have to edit and get my videos posted properly, and this was the case today. And now I'm finally ready to do a project, but I'm afraid I'm not going to have enough time before I have to leave. So I might have to do some now and some later, but I figured I'd at least explain what we're doing now. And then, maybe we will finish now, or maybe finish later today, or maybe even tomorrow, though hopefully not. So today is going to be a moving day. Right now we're looking at Acrobat and her 3-week-old babies. Pretty soon they're going to be 4 weeks old and need to be separated from their mom. So we have a lot of shuffling to do to make that happen. I'm planning on putting them right next door where Sylvan is. In case you forgot, Sylvan is our French Angora buck, who we recently found out is sterile and can no longer be a breeder in the colony, and I finally decided that I will keep him as a fiber rabbit instead of replacing him with another buck who could both provide fiber and breedability. His personality is so sweet, and his fur color is beautiful, and his fur quality is great, and the chances that I'm going to find just as perfect a buck to replace him with is pretty small. But he can't live there anymore in a couple days because the little babies are going to have to move into where he is. So Sylvan is going to have to move into this empty tractor. This tractor is where Onyx used to live, but we recently culled him because, like Sylvan, he, for whatever reason, can't breed anymore either. He went sterile too. And with Onyx being butchered and moving some rabbits from the tractors into a colony, we now have an empty tractor on the far side, an empty tractor on this near side. Then in the middle we have the best tractor, which has Zuzu and her babies, and those babies just opened their eyes, so that means they're old enough to leave the nest box. But we can't let the babies out on this tractor because the bottom wire is too big. Usually the bottom wire size is just fine because it's down on the ground sitting on top of grass, so the rabbits can eat the grass but not dig out. But the way we have it now, which is raised up off the ground like a cage, the wire is too big for little babies. Their feet will too easily fall through, and possibly more of them will fall through too. Especially because, unlike Acrobat, who's been a great mom and had plenty of milk to nurse her babies with, Zuzu has not been the best milk provider. Thankfully, all her babies have lived. All 7 of them are still alive and healthy. Except for that, they're all much smaller than Acrobat's kids were at that age. They're not getting fed nearly as much. So in order for the babies to come out of the nest box and start eating solid food and hopefully grow a bit bigger, Zuzu and her babies need to be moved to this other hutch that the 2 white New Zealand bucks are currently inhabiting. In a previous video, I said that I was going to take the smaller of the 2 bucks and butcher him at the same time as Onyx, but after further consideration, I decided that keeping both of them would end up being the better choice. Because we're having so many bucks going sterile, it seems kind of silly to butcher a buck that might not be sterile just because he's a bit smaller than his brother. So for now, we're going to keep both of them and hope they both are fertile. But then I guess if one of them turns out not to be, which I guess with our current luck is very possible, then we'll have the other one be the main breeding buck. Hopefully at least one of them can properly breed. But because these guys are so old, they're like 3.5 months old, they are getting too big to live together anymore. When we first got them and they were all little babies, it was fine to leave them together. It was actually good, so it wasn't so stressful for them. But now that they're used to their new home and they're getting older and more mature and wanting to fight each other for dominance, it'll be safer for both of them to be separate. So they will move into these 2 soon-to-be empty tractors, 1 boy in each tractor, but they're not going to stay here in our winter setup anymore. We are going to move the 2 green tractors into our garden. Since the daffodils have popped up, that means it's now officially turned spring, and with spring comes a lot of weeds growing in the garden. Though it's still too early to plant things in the garden, and throughout all the winter I've been mulching everything very heavily. Most of the mulch used to be animal bedding, and when you feed animals grain, some of that grain inevitably will spill into the bedding, and then bringing the bedding and putting it in the garden means you've accidentally planted a whole bunch of weed seeds. In most places, the grain seeds didn't grow, but in some areas, as you can see here, there are little bits of oat grass and wheat grass and barley grass and all the grains we feed to the animals popping up in our garden. So my plan is, in the couple weeks before planting can begin, I'm going to stick both green tractors with both little white bucks in the garden and move them like you would on a regular pasture, except for instead of eating pasture, they'll eat down all these little weed sprouts and do a bit of extra fertilizing on the way to help more fully prepare our garden for springtime planting. I tried my best to keep everything as non-confusing as possible, but let me quickly recap. Pretty soon, Sylvan will be in this tractor, but he's not going to go in the garden because his fiber would get tangled in the mulch and be too hard to clean. So Sylvan will be in this one. These two green tractors will soon be empty and moved into the garden with the white bucks. And these two cages will be the maternity areas. Acrobat and her new litter that will be born in about a week will be in the near half of the cage. Then all her older babies will be in the far half of the cage. Then in this hutch, there will be Zuzu and her litter of babies. Does that all make sense? Okay, now I have less than an hour. See, do I want to get all sweaty and dirty right before going to the doctor's office? I really need to move Zuzu and her babies though. I really need to do it today. Maybe I'll just try real quick and try not to get sweaty. Okay, so as I'm thinking about this, it looks like I'm gonna have to move this empty tractor into the garden, put both little boys in there so their cage is empty, so then Zuzu can move to their cage, leaving this one empty, move it to the garden, and then separate them once they're there. Having all my rabbit housing full is really hard. You have to just shuffle everybody around. You guys okay? Here, let me get you a little bit more safe. Okay, that's better. Okay, I think that was the hardest one. Hopefully everything else is a bit easier. Now, because it's been winter and not much has been growing for so long, I haven't been able to pick fresh greens for the rabbits for several months because I've been giving all our food scraps to the pregnant mamas or the mamas nursing to make sure they're extra healthy and have extra nutrition to nurse their babies. These bucks haven't gotten a lot of fresh things to eat. They're usually eating mostly just hay. So I wouldn't want to put them out on a real pasture because that'd be too much shock to their system. But because it's just a few bits of grass here and there, it'll be just fine. 1, don't jump out. 2, okay. Good boys. They're actually pretty close in size. I think one's a little bit bigger than the other, but they're pretty good. I have to think of names for them though, because now they're going to be official breeders. They need names. Right, boys. You ready? These guys are huge. You'll be together just for a little bit. Oh yeah, this guy's definitely bigger. I don't quite remember all the intricacies of ancient Roman myths or whatever, but from what I do remember, maybe I want to name these guys Romulus and Remus. I know they're rabbits and not like wolves or dogs, but kind of like Romulus and Remus, they're brothers, and hopefully at least one of them is going to go on to father a great nation of baby rabbits. So I'm not for sure on those names, but I think it'd be pretty fun. Okay, Zuzu, you ready for your new home? It's going to be much bigger, and your babies are going to be much more in your life. All right, in you go. Thank you, good girl. Okay, Miss Zulily. That's her real name, can you believe it? I hardly ever call her Zulily. There's your new place. I'll be right back with your babies. Here we come, babies. You're about to get the surprise of your lives. Aren't they so big? And they're so fluffy and cute. Look at this face. Alright, babies, let's go. to your new place. Oh no, is this gonna fit? Are you gonna fit? Please do fit, please do. Yes! It kind of fits, kind of. Alright, so the thought is, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna take the babies out, then rearrange their bedding, then put them back in. Okay, I think we're pretty good. One baby's already crawled back into their nest. It's basically just tipped on its side. They can go through this way, they can go through this way. It's not like that dirty in there. And I want to make sure Zuzu has all those familiar smells. These babies can barely toddle around. If I had waited a bit longer, they would have been a bit more mobile. But because they're so immobile, I want to make sure Zuzu still has the best possible chance of coming to nurse them, because they might not be quite as able to walk over to her and nurse. Because whenever you move a doe and her babies, it's likely to throw her off and make her forget to nurse them. So if they're old enough to crawl to her to nurse, then they'll be safe. But because these guys kind of can't, I want to be extra safe and make sure that the chances Zuzu will keep nursing them is very high. Hello, aren't they so cute? We have 2 solid chestnuts, 4 broken chestnuts, and 1 solid black. As you can see, they're a little smaller and skinnier. They're also younger than Acrobat's babies when Acrobat's babies came out, so that's why there's such a huge size difference, but they're still super adorable. These are Sterling's babies, guys. Can you believe he's such a good buck? He is such a good one. Cute little babies. Now there's 2 babies who figured out how to be nice and warm in their nest. It'll be nice and easy for them. This wire is much better. It's much smaller and much easier for the babies to get a grip on. Zuzu's way over there trying to figure out what's going on. I need to get them some food and I need to get them some hay and water. I'll be right back. Okay, she's now got plenty of food and water, and her babies have figured out that they can nurse on their mom whenever they want now. But they're still too wobbly to follow her all the time. Well, this little white one kind of try. What do you think, Zuzu? You gonna keep nursing your babies? Gonna eat lots of nutritious food and drink some good water and make lots of milk for your babies, right? Yes, yes. I know I should get back to my project, but they're just so cute. They're never gonna be this small again. I'll come back tomorrow and they'll just be a tiny bit bigger. Just so tempting to stay out here forever. I should probably go. Bye, babies. Okay, it's 1:30. I don't want to be sweaty. I hate being sweaty in public, and smelling really bad. Maybe I'll just pause. The most important thing got done. The boys are still together, but they'll be okay for a couple hours. This next bit is going to be moving the second tractor into the garden. Then I want to reposition this, so I'm going to have to set up more cinder blocks, and all of that's going to be a lot of heavy work. And I'm already kind of sweating a little bit, but I bet if I finish now, I'll have to rush inside, hot and sweaty, just in time to leave. So I figure I'll rest and cool off and freshen up and then go, then come back and finish later. Oh, but I should probably get these guys some water. Once the other tractor's in here, I'll bring them all lots of hay and lots of water all at once, but I guess if I'm not doing it now, I should at least get them some water. They have some grass, so they won't be starving. Oh, I should get a lock for this too. I left it in the pumpkin patch. Okay, boys, here's your water. Make sure to put it somewhere where there's no grass so that they can eat as much as they want. Enjoy your new house. I'll grab a lock and then I'll go inside and cool off. So when you DIY all your rabbit stuff, you come up with some pretty weird ideas. This is how I do this lock. So this carabiner clips onto this clip, and now it can't go anywhere. This whole tractor is kind of falling apart. I need to really redo it sometime, and originally I was going to wait to move it till I could redo it, but I didn't really get there, so I figure it's better than nothing. It's not falling apart enough to have it be dangerous for the rabbits to escape, but I do need to redo this tractor and the other green tractor sometime soon. Okay, but now I actually have to leave. No more little projects I keep forgetting about. I'm going to go inside, cool off, freshen up, go to the doctor's office, come back, and hopefully finish my project then. See you guys soon.